One of the major reasons why you keep losing your trades is simply because you don't have a working strategy. Now let me show you exactly how you can improve your trading. These are live setups that I sent to my free Telegram channel. Stay tuned because I'm about to shift the way you think about trading. Now, how did I catch all of these setups? Let's walk right in. Okay, so this is a quick analysis or trade recap that we took today, and of course you are going to learn a lot by the time we are done. So we took 1 loss and 4 wins, so it's very important you pay keen attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a plain chart so that I'm going to explain everything to us in details. Of course, we're going to be referencing this because I want you to get everything step by step and I don't want to miss anything. All right, so we're going to use another broker for this. So for example, let's take this out, and this is something new. So first thing first that you want to do when you come to the chart, especially when you are trading the Komepips trading protocol, you need to come to the daily time frame. The daily time frame shows you the intention of price action and what is price likely to do. So what do we do? So first thing first, this is the trade day we want to trade. Of course, this is your current day, so you have to check the previous day. You have to check the previous day. In this case, this was the previous day. What happened in the previous day? Now if you see the previous day, we have a massive expansion to the upside. So if we have a massive expansion to the upside and we have a candle closure above the previous day high, is telling us one thing. One of the major things is telling us is that price is about to continue, or price is also willing to continue to the upside. Now that's not enough. Another thing we'll also need to pay attention to is the what price had already done, the current phase of price action. Okay, so as you can see right here, we have this candle sweeping the previous candle right there. And of course, what happened? What do? We check this. This was the New Year Day candle, and of course we had a sweep. So 1 2 3, and this is the phase 4 of price, meaning price is willing to continue the buys. Usually I teach my students in the Komepips mentorship that anytime we see candle 1 2 3 4 closure, the 5th candle, we tend to see 3 things happen. Either we experience consolidation, retracement, or total reversal. Any of these case, whatever it is, it will gear you up to prepare for the next phase or what will happen next. That's exactly the same principle that I use here. Wait, another important thing that you need to pay attention to is key levels. Where is price reacting from? As you can see, price reacting from a daily key level. But is that enough for us to take our setups? Obviously not. Why? Because you don't just use one particular thing to identify your buyers. You need to put structure in place, market in place. You need to understand what is happening, liquidity, breakout, and so on. And this is exactly what we're doing now. And of course, I'm trying to explain this so that you can understand better. Now, we have 2 confluences already. Price already closed above previous day's high, and we also have an expansion, and we're currently in the phase 4 of market structure. Of course, there's something else that I also incorporated, and that is the crack in correlation. Crack in correlation simply is SMT divergence. Now, what does that mean? This simply implies that one pair we either create a higher high, or create the other one create the higher low. Now that's exactly what was happening here as well. Now if we check the daily time frame, we could see that there's a bit crack in correlation here, which has already which already happened maybe around the last week of December. Okay, that's exactly what happened right there. So we can as well confirm that with this breakout which we already have here. So that's another confluence that okay, we might likely experience the buys. So having said that, I hope you understand everything that I've just explained on the daily time frame. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below, because I always read the comment and I appreciate it when my students, my YouTube community, leave their comment or their thoughts below the videos. All right, so let's go to a time frame lower. It's becoming interesting. So on the 4-hour time frame, we want to see this as the confirmation of our bias. Now, as you can see, price was moving from this, and of course that was the daily rejection from this daily key level. Now, what do we have here? Simply put, we have a simple change candle range here, which people call the CRT. So for the CRT, we have on here. Now, how did I get involved in all of this trade? Did I just take it directly? No. These are the things you need to pay attention to. Now, I have a CRT here and I have a mitigation of higher time frame MSN arrow key level. And of course, what do I have? I have a 50% in line with what that MSM arrow key level. So this is telling me one thing. It is telling me that the buyers are still in control. So whenever you come to the chart, you need to check for two things: buyers and sellers, because we are either going to buy or we are going to sell. And if you compare both, you need to remove and eliminate the one that has the lower form of argument. So in this case, sellers have lower form of argument. Why? Because as you can see on the opposite side, this you have something that looks like a CRT, but we are not going to trade that because this is not in line with our buyers, with our daily buyers. So what do I do? As a matter of fact, this is what I call the Komepips ICRT. So we have this as the Komepips ICRT. For those of you who don't understand what ICRT is, of course, is a concept that was being created as a result of deep research by the Komepips community. All right, so by having said this, this is very, very important. Why? Because this is going to serve as the foundation to my setup. So anything I want to do it in line with this framework which we already have here. So having seen this on the higher time frame, all I did was to go to the lower time frame. In this case, this is what I call the current market price. This shows me the intention of price action at the moment. Okay, so before this actually happened, remember that I took some trades below here, below the zone. Okay, before this one I took a trade here, and I think I took another trade here. Now let me teach you exactly how I did that. Are you ready? If you are ready, please smash the like button and also leave a comment below. All right, so as you can see, these are not just gimmicks, these were real life setups. All right, so this was the let's check this together because I want to show you everything bit by bit and I don't want to rush this. So let's come back to this chart. Now, having seen this, this is quite interesting. We have a mitigation of our consequent encroachment, which is known as CE and is an ICT concept actually. Now, having seen that, what else can we say? We can see that there was a break and change in state of delivery right there. But was that enough for me to take any buys? No, it was not enough, especially seeing that it was coming from the 4-hour time frame. Because according to multi-time frame analysis and time frame alignment, using the 4-hour point of interest with the 5-minute point of interest does not tally. So all I have to do, I will have to check and be extra careful. So this is what you should always have in mind. Now, I was a little bit careful, and of course I was expecting price to take out this low. Now, if you don't understand what I call the Komepips inducement, chariot inducement, I think you should check my channel. You are going to see the video where you see the chariot inducement. The chariot inducement is simply when there is a swing point that taps into a valid fair value gap. So we're expecting that that low is taken, and once that low is taken, then it shows intention of price. But in this case, that never happened. Now, how did I then get involved in the market? It was quite easy. This was exactly how I was able to get in. This is what I call the ICRT liquidity. So of course, seeing that this ICRT liquidity have been taken, we can call this an hidden liquidity. This is actually an hidden liquidity because it's not really the regular kind of liquidity that we see out there. Now, having said this, and of course, price broke this structure and gave us a change in state of delivery right there. So we have this as our CISD. Is this enough for me to take my entry? I'm going to allow you to answer in 3, 2, 1. Of course, it was enough for me. Why? Because as you can see on the 5 minutes, I also have my ICRT here. Now, like I said, ICRT is the part or the major part of the Komepips trading protocol, but there is a standard of operation on how I personally use it. Now, that was the driving force behind this trade. If I remember during the editing, I'm going to paste the screenshot so that you see for yourself. Everything I'm showing you here is not gimmicks. They were live setups that we took in the Komepips Academy, and of course some in the free Telegram channel. By the way, I have a free Telegram community, I have a free X community, and I'm also on Instagram. Check the video description for my socials. All right, so having entered here, all I have to do was to wait, and I think I took about 1 to 5 risk to reward ratio. Why 1 to 5? Why not, take 1 to 20? Of course, I could have waited and expect price to get to 1 to 20, but according to my trading plan, I just needed 1 to 5, because once you can get that consistently, believe me, you are out of the trenches. Now, as you can see, I have multiple setups here. Look at that. Each of these setups gave me about 1 to 5 minimum, except for this one, which gave me about 1 to 3, which of course I updated the community before. And all right, so let's continue. Now, having explained this particular setup, it's very important that we also understand this next one. Now, something actually happened here before I took this buy. No, before I took this sell. If you look intently, you will see a minor loss here. Of course, that was one of the trades that I took today. Remember, we took 5 trades and we took 4 wins and 1 loss. And this was the single loss that we took. And why was this a loss? It's quite simple. So let's go back to our plain chart and let me explain that. On the 1 hour time frame, which was why I was looking for that particular setup, which is around, let's check. Can we check that again, please? This was around which was around here. Now, of course, there's something you also need to understand. I think it was around here. I was actually waiting for a retracement because of the market phases, and I just wanted that retracement, just wanted to take the retracement before continuing the trade up. Now, a lesson to learn here: don't chase a counter trend when you have not understood the pro trend. The reason why I was chasing the counter trend was because I already understand my pro trend, and I know that if I'm taking a counter trend, then I know where I'm going to take my profits from. And of course, that was exactly all I did. And how did I do that? Now, I came to the 5 minute time frame, and that was a time frame that I was in. Okay, so this 5 minute time frame, I was around let's check, let's use this so that it can be easier for us. So we have this as a breakout here. So I already have this breakout, and I have this as a CRT, and at the same time this was an outside bar. Now, this is very, very important. If you understand the Komepips defining range concept, you understand the concept of outside bar. Okay, so that was exactly what I was looking out for to take this sell. And of course, it was in line with the classic MSNR level, and of course we also have a 5-minute DL level, which is 5-minute decisional level, and that was why I was looking to take this short. And what happened? Price did not go far. It just went a little bit down, gave about 122, and of course, because I was expecting price to come to this low, I didn't take anything. In fact, let me show you on the 1 minute. Probably we're going to see it clearer from there. You see, on the 1 minute, price just pushed down to this. Let me unblock this. Price just pushed down to this is about 1 to 2.4 risk to reward ratio, right? But I didn't take any partial, I didn't take any profit, because I was actually expecting price to take this low. If I'd considered this low, then I would have taken profit. All right, so let's move on to the most interesting part. Now, by the time we're done with this, believe me, you are going to understand some things on how you can improve your setups. Now, this was the next trade that I took, and of course this was a counter trend trade. And what was the brain behind it? Remember that 1 hour, let's check it together. Remember that 1 hour bias that I was telling you about, that I just wanted a retracement trade, right? That was exactly the same idea behind that particular setup, which was this: we have a break, and of course I was expecting price to push down and at least take this low. Now, when that was happening, I was also considering this actually, so I wasn't expecting price to just push all the way down and took this, because that was still a counter trend. And that's the brain behind this setup. And of course, look at that, that was a classic level, and that was where I took my setup from. So I hope it's quite clear. Now, when price pushed down to this level, what did I do? I was anticipating price to buy, right? But I was just waiting patiently. Because until you wait, you cannot be able to snipe. You need to wait for you to snipe. It's very, very important. Now, the next important thing I was asking myself is, okay, I am bullish. Where is price likely to reverse from? Now, we have to go back to the 1 hour time frame. So let's go to the plain chart and let me show you what I mean. Now, this is the 1 hour time frame. Of course, on this 1 hour time frame, what do you see? Now, remember, I was waiting for what? I was waiting for a retracement to the downside. Now, what exactly am I seeing here? I can see candle 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that was the end of a phase. So afterwards, what do? I simply have to wait for another form of price action. However, before this happened, what happened? We have another one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it means this was a bullish phase, and this was supposed to be the last candle of the bullish phase, and that was exactly what I was looking out for. And of course, to be sincere, someone in my academy, in my mentorship, one of my mentee, he actually sent a setup. Immediately something triggered, and I saw it and I said, wow, okay, yeah, that's it. And of course, it was fully in line with the trading protocol direct entry method 1, and that was why we took this particular buy. And where did we take the buy from? We took the buy from around here. Now, of course, I'm going to show you on the chart. Also remember that we have a fair value gap here. Remember, what did I teach you guys about fair value? I said fair value gap is the one of the drive of the market, because when price is pushing to the upside, price does one thing: price will leave fair value gaps. Why? Because in the future, price will need to fill those gaps, and that's when we call it fair value. but we are going to call it fair value gap because there is no fair value in price. That's exactly what happened here. Also, this is what the ICT call the inverse fair value gap. We see price push down, price push up, so we now have this as inverse fair value gap. So this was another confluence that powered this particular setup. Okay, so having said that, we'll go back to here and show you why I took this trade. It was quite simple. Now look at this. We have a very interesting key level here. As you can see, this was a 5-minute ICRT. This was a 5-minute ICRT, and of course I'm not expecting price. I wasn't expecting price to take. Usually on the hard time frame, I don't expect price to take this week. However, what happened? Why did I put my stop loss here? I'm not somewhere here. Now this is the reason, and this is why you need to pay attention. In this our ICRT candle, we have a complete cycle. We have 1 2 3 4, so that was a complete cycle. And usually anytime we get a complete cycle, we should expect price to get to the body of that point of interest, and that was why I was able to put my stop loss a little bit below, because I want to give it time and space to breathe. So it was not so long and price started shooting to the upside. And of course, that particular trade, every one of us in the free Telegram community, we learned and we made a lot of profit from that trade. All right, so I didn't just stop there. I think there was one more setup that I took before we go to the last one, which is the GBP USD. And of course, at this point, I wasn't interested in taking any setups because I already took 4 trades, 3 wins, and of course one loss and 3 wins. So I wasn't interested in this as well. But I will just explain this to us for the sake of learning. Okay, now this is quite simple. Now there's something I also forgot to mention. There was a liquidity right here below this. There was a liquidity here that gave momentum to this particular trade. For those of you who trade smart money concept, you understand the importance of liquidity. All right, so let's check this real quick before we check this GBP USD setup. Now this is quite easy and simple and straightforward. If we come to the 1 hour time frame, what can we see? Now on the 1 hour time frame, remember that price was already tapped this low level and our 5-minute CRT level, and of course price have pushed to the upside. So what can we see? As you can see here, we have a 1 hour ICRT, and I also think we have a 15-minute ICRT there. Yeah, there was a 15-minute ICRT there, and of course I refused to take this trade personally because I was actually on a heavy lot size from this particular setup, so I wasn't willing to risk more from here, so I just allowed it to run. So this is quite easy, and that was exactly how we're able to catch all of these setups trading the trade using the trading protocol offered by the Komepips. Okay, so let's check this real quick. Now this GBP USD setup is quite interesting. Why? Because this was analyzed live with my Telegram community. We're actually in a 30 minutes long live session. We're actually in a 30-minute long live session, and someone asked me to analyze Euro USD. Now what did I do? And I started analyzing the Euro USD, and all I had to do was to put it in line or check the correlating pair. And of course, when I checked the correlating pair, I found out that GBP/USD tends to be the stronger pair here. Now, as you can see, let me show you very quickly. Now for the 1 hour chart, what exactly can we see? On the 1 hour chart, we can see that there was I think it was around here, right? Yep, it was around here. So we have a break to the downside. First we had a crack in correlation. Now let's check this on GBP/USD. We had a crack in correlation, so this is a smart money divergence on Euro USD. So having said that, there was another one here on the lower time frame, so we had to consider that as well. So the next thing that we checked was a change in state of delivery, which already occurred here. Now immediately I saw this, I was interested in this particular pair, and all of a sudden I just told them that okay, we might want to see a 5-minute confirmation first before we enter. But mind you, I also said that we already have a 5-minute confirmation on Euro USD. So for example, if we come to 5 minutes on Euro USD, you see what I was trying to explain to them. This was what I was trying to explain to them. We had a changing state of delivery already, which is a breakout in the positive correlating pair with GBP USD. So this tells me that this have been confirmed. Whatever is happening on GBP USD is just a distraction or manipulation of the smart money, and this is one of the way you know how smart money manipulates price action. Now all I had to do was to check for my inverse candle range, and of course that's exactly what we've got here. Now of course I was expecting price to trade around this zone because this was my inverse candle range. However, I understand that one of the standard of operation of my inverse candle range is my ability to identify or to know when to use the 50% or the opening of the wicks, or even the 50% of the wicks. Now in this case, I was interested in using the 50% of my inverse candle range. As you can see it right there, CE, which stands for consequent encroachment, and of course that's where price pushed and of course pushed down. Now on the 5-minute time frame, I would have gotten another opportunity, but why didn't I enter? The reason why I did not enter is simply because I already have a heavy lot size here as well, and I wasn't willing to risk. This was where I would have taken the sell continuation. Why? Because this was the beginning of a new hour. For those of you who were on my Telegram live session today, I said that I would rather prefer to wait for this candle to close and enter on the next opening candle, and of course that was exactly what happened. However, I entered on this candle before this one opened because that was a little bit aggressive, but not just aggressive, it was by confirmation and of course in line with my ICRT. And of course that's it. If I had taken that setup as well, I would have taken it from that particular zone, obviously on the 5-minute time frame. This is Komepips. We are here to help you to improve your trading strategy. Listen, in case you have been searching for where you can increase and grow your trading, of course this is the best community you could ever have, and the search is actually over. I get countless of messages on people telling me that my videos have actually elevated them from struggling in trading. So please, all I need from you right now is a like and a comment, and please don't hesitate to share with a friend or with a community. Just go ahead and tell people about Komepips, and I hope to see you on the profitable side of the